Hello, I'm Askar Sharaliyev and you're watching the news from Kazakhstan. These are the top stories. 6 inmates of the Dolinka prison still remain in the Shakhtinsk hospital. The chief banker of the country suspects a number of publications in affiliating with opposition sources in London. Students of Astana's Eurasian University will be serving guests of the upcoming OSCE summit. Six inmates of the Dolinka prison in the Karaganda region are still in the Shakhtinsk hospital after self-mutilating themselves in the protest against severe detention conditions. At the same time, the leadership of the Correctional System Committee asks the media not to over-dramatize the situation.
10 inmates of the prison AK-159/7 have cut themselves using nails. It happened in one of the most problematic detention facilities of the Karaganda region. This was already the second mass act of self-mutilation in the last 2 months. In mid-September, 8 inmates cut their stomachs open. This time the number of protesters grew. On Monday, 10 patients were brought to the local hospital from the prison. 4 of them were sent back after receiving first aid. The other 6 were in need of urgent surgery. The inmates have seriously injured their internal organs, say doctors. The clinic even had to cancel all other planned surgeries. Each surgery took about 40 minutes, with 2 teams of surgeons working, 4 in one group and 2 in the other, with around 6 hours spent for the surgeries in total. The Regional Committee of Penitentiary Systems claims that nothing serious happened and inmates are in the hospital just for observation. Vital organs were not damaged, but to make sure they are undergoing checkups of the abdominal cavity and are under observation. At the moment, the prison is guarded by army personnel with dogs. Unauthorized personnel as well as reporters are not allowed even to approach the checkpoint, while officials and human rights activists are discussing the situation inside. Injured inmates will spend several more days in the Shakhtinsk hospital, say doctors, although the prison leadership insists on their return to the facility as soon as possible.
A petition of the human rights activist Evgeny Zhovtis was reviewed on Tuesday in the East Kazakhstan Regional Court. For already 9 months, Zhovtis, who was sentenced to 4 years after a lethal car accident, is trying to challenge a supposedly unlawful reprimand issued to him by the prison's head for a refusal to work as a security engineer.
On November 9th, the East Kazakhstan Regional Court attempted to decide where should the trial initiated by the famous human rights activist Evgeny Zhovtis take place. Last winter, the inmate has filed a suit against the head of the prison where he serves his term. The judges could not decide who should deal with the case. At one point, the Uсть-Kamenogorsk City Court transferred it to the Ulan district, which was objected by the human rights activist. The law allows for the hearing to be held at the place of residence. The petition was filed back on February 3rd over the reprimand issued by the prison head for the refusal to sign the labor contract. 9 months have passed since February 3rd, and we already have 6 court orders, and yet we still do not know the jurisdiction where we should apply with the matter. In January, Zhovtis refused to work as a safety engineer, as he lacks the necessary education and qualification. For this, the prison leadership reprimanded the inmate. In response, Zhovtis filed a lawsuit. This is not only about our judicial system, but the entire state system, which is based on non-recognition of mistakes. It is a corporate cruel solidarity. They do not want to recognize mistakes when dealing with members of the opposition, simply stating that the person just cannot be right. The appeals board decided to uphold the decision of the Uсть-Kamenogorsk City Court and leave the petition of Evgeny Zhovtis without satisfaction. This definition is not subject to appeals and enforced immediately after its announcement. The court ignored all arguments of Zhovtis and his lawyer. The board chair decided to conduct the hearing in Ulan District Court in the area of the prison's legal address.
The country's chief sanitary doctor said on Tuesday there was no hepatitis outbreak in Ekibastuz. Kenes Aspanov personally visited the city where all of the schools were closed for quarantine after 28 pupils have been hospitalized with the infection in a span of 1 week. In late October, 28 pupils from 6 different schools have been brought to the Ekibastuz State Hospital diagnosed with hepatitis A. 22 of them have been already discharged and currently undergo outpatient treatment. The examination of the local bazaars didn't reveal the source of infection. However, the sanitary and epidemiology specialists insist that the outbreak started from a dirty watermelon consumed by an 11th grader from an Ekibastuz school who later infected her classmates and friends. In addition, the sanitary authorities revealed that the school in question was violating sanitary norms. The janitor was using the same gloves while washing the toilets and the classrooms, for which she was subsequently reprimanded. The school's headmaster has already voluntarily resigned. The visit of the chief sanitary doctor of Kazakhstan made it clear that the dozen of registered hepatitis A cases in Ekibastuz are not a sign of a jaundice outbreak, but a seasonal escalation. The situation with hepatitis has already stabilized. There was no outbreak. This is just a seasonal escalation. I would like to remind everyone that Kazakhstan features a stable decrease of hepatitis A cases. Almaty now has a seasonal shortage of fee medicine. The problem is likely to escalate in January, say health department officials. Apparently, the money allocated this year for the program of outpatient medicine supply has already been spent. Due to this, NGOs plan to strictly monitor the matter in the future.
The war against the seasonal shortage of free medicine is launched by the fund Aman Solik. Now any person in need can call a hotline available in 4 cities of the country. The project was set up to help patients with rare diseases who should be supplied with medicine by the state all year long. Evidently, the health ministry failed this task. There are many issues around. New diseases appear, old ones give complications, the population is aging, etc. In turn, officials say that this year more than $11 million were allocated from the state budget for free medicine. Next year, this amount will grow to 16 million. Health Ministry representative Larisa Kuznetsova says the problem is increased rate of rare sicknesses among the residents of Almaty. There appeared numerous rare diseases that are quite costly. Not many people have them, but these diseases are quite complicated and we are doing everything to improve the situation. Lyudmila Postapenko has one of those rare diseases, the scleroderma. The woman seeks free treatment since 2009 and was included in the state quota only once before. However, when the financing ran out, she was asked to leave hospital. Luckily, Postapenko was aided by the fund Aman Solik and is now able to wait for the next part of the state health. I will get the medicine for free now, because otherwise it's very expensive. I used to buy it on my own, as our hospitals simply do not have it. That's the way they work here. The fund's project has been launched already. For instance, in Almaty, the hotline is in extreme demand. This is due to the critical shortage of medicine experienced across the entire country by the end of the year. Unfortunately, the situation is not likely to change, and the situation will remain the same until February 2011.
It seems that the recent statement of the chairman of the Central Elections Committee that all previously scheduled elections will be held in 2012 didn't end speculations. After all, the country will have to vote for the head of state, parliament and local governments all in 1 year. Political analysts and members of the opposition still believe there is room for early elections.
Rumors and talks about early elections have been voiced for about 2 months. Initially, the information came from the MP and ruling party member Tazbay Simanbayev. However, according to the constitution, parliamentary and presidential elections cannot be held at the same time. Although later the head of the Central Elections Commission, Kuandyk Turgankulov, said that it is possible after all and provided historical arguments on the matter. Nevertheless, these statements didn't put an end to the discussion. Many election campaigns have been held out of schedule, so it's nothing new or surprising. The decision is not up to the chairman of the CEC, but up to the head of state, and everything depends on him. Political analyst Maxim Kaznacheyev says elections to the lower chamber are very important for all political forces, as they will indicate the population's affiliation and could mess things up for potential candidates for the presidency. At the same time, Kaznacheyev feels that holding elections on time is not aimed at neutralizing opponents by draining all of their resources. Likely the time is needed to prepare of the second pseudo-independent political party, an imaginary opponent to Nuratan in the parliament. Holding an election in 2012 is a chance to register and promote political forces, which actually might be already registered but not promoted. The situation with Akjol remains very unclear, and we should pay attention to it. They have a chance to reformat the party by 2012 and become a serious competitor for the opposition. Politician Bulat Abilov believes the date for the parliamentary and presidential elections will be set at the last moment. Obviously, this date will be most beneficial for the ruling party and the leader of the nation. We are prepared to participate in both elections. However, the authorities will make everything possible to misinform the population and political opponents about us, as they fear open competition. Political analysts also predict that every party will choose the most appropriate and important electoral cycle based on their resources and demands. Someone will fight for memberships in local administrations to gain an opportunity to form electoral commissions. Others will prefer parliament seats and some will concentrate on the presidential campaign.
The blog of Rahat Aliyev, the exiled former son-in-law of the Kazakh president Nursultan Nazarbayev, appeared to be suspended on Tuesday. Instead of recent posts, all visitors saw was the following message in Russian. This journal was suspended with all posts no longer available for reading. Due to confidentiality reasons, we cannot discuss why the account was suspended with anyone other than its owner. Rahat Aliyev's blog was available at rahataliyev.livejournal.com. Currently, this page is available in Kazakhstan only through the use of foreign proxy service. The chairman of the Kazakhstan's National Bank, Grigory Marchenko, gave a promise to deal with the unanimous shareholders of the known local mass media outlets. During the monthly press conference on the review of the country's financial market, the chief banker accused reporters of the news agency Kazakhstan and newspaper Respublika of following orders given by some, quote, ex-inmates from London.
I will not join any discussions with you, let's just put it this way. Next time, do not use the flash while taking pictures inside. It's not going to be a problem, isn't it? I won't even mention the quality of the photos you publish. Reporters have long got used to the jokes made by Marchenko, but today's press conference simply went overboard with the mean humor produced by the National Bank chairman. The first target was the news agency Kazakhstan. Quite bluntly, Marchenko promised to find out who the outlet's shareholders are and then deal with them. Next was the reporter of the newspaper Respublika, who asked about the progress in the talks on the purchase of Kazakh BTA by the Russian Sberbank. This prompted chairman to say that he is tired of answering questions from media representatives who are paid by ex-inmates in London, and then drew a parallel between Kazakhstan and Golos Respublika, saying they have the same owners. These people who are hiding from justice in London and supposedly have nothing to do with your newspaper, from time to time they just commission your articles and tell what questions to ask. There is an Arab proverb, a fox knows 100 tails, but all of them are about chicken. That's why all of these publications, supposedly independent from ex-inmates in London, they keep asking the same questions for 1.5 years. We have long answered it. Kazym Ataev responded with humor to the accusations of his affiliation with mysterious Londoners. He said that one of the agency's minority shareholders from the UK is none other than the Queen. We have no people in the UK, escaped convicts or Forbes listed or whatnot. We have dreamed of creating this agency here in Kazakhstan. I can assure you that all our shareholders are in Kazakhstan, all well and alive. If Marchenko wants so, we can arrange a meeting. As for Respublika, its editors noted with irony that seemingly the chairman sees only opinion that is right, and incidentally, it's always his own. This is especially true when he has nothing to say to some very specific questions. That is when he starts looking for someone to blame all across the world. In any case, Respublika or Mataev do not plan on taking the matter to court, with the letter saying he respects the banker but advises him to treat reporters with greater respect. After all, media is always first to help officials when they fall out of favor. There is no guarantee Marchenko will avoid this fate.